And we are recording it. I'm sure Dan lets you know that.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right. Welcome. Already got a few people coming in. Welcome, Jason. Welcome, Stephanie. Give it a few minutes. Start right at 10, probably.
Mm-hmm.
A couple more. Awesome. Welcome, everyone. Hope everyone's having a good day so far. It's a big dip from yesterday's weather, but at least it's not raining yet. At least here in Portland.
Yeah, it's sunny in Bangor.
Nice. Yeah, it was sunny and almost hit 70 here in Portland yesterday. So
Uh,
already feel like I got a little spoiled. Hmm. Few more minutes. Welcome. Minute and get rolling here. Slow. Right. Well, it's 10 o'clock, so why don't we get the ball rolling here? Thanks for joining Score Maine today, and welcome to our webinar on starting your own business. I want to thank David Green, our chapter chair from the Northern Maine District, for hosting and presenting today. My name is Jasper Erickson. I'm a associate down in the Portland office. And we also thank our sponsor, the TD Charitable Foundation, today for making this event possible. We are going to be taking questions throughout the presentation, so feel free to queue them up in the Q&A and we'll answer them as we can. And today's webinar is being recorded, so if you miss anything or if you join us late, we will send it out at the end as well as a short survey to take. So without further ado, David, why don't you take it away?
Thanks, Jasper. Yes, I'm David Green. I'm the chapter chair for SCORE in Northern Maine, which covers a huge territory, starting at Fort Kent all the way down to, probably Owl's Head or thereabouts. So I've been mentoring with SCORE for about 6 years now, and I've also owned my own small business in Maine for 19 years. It's a consulting business. My wife is my business partner, and we're very pleased that uh, our annual report came out recently, and in fiscal year 2023, in Maine, SCORE helped 160 new businesses start and created over 1,600 new jobs. So what we do is interesting, and it's fun to do, mentoring small businesses, whether they're pre-startup, startup, or the 40% who are already in business. So it's always good to know when the annual report comes out that we made a difference. So I'm happy to take questions anytime through the presentation. So put it in the Q&A, and Jasper will interrupt me at some point, and that's fine. That's a good way to do it. I'd like it to be as interactive as possible. I can't see anything other than my own video and the screen, so Jasper will take care of whatever happens in the background, and
Yeah,
whatever
I've got the
happens is
tab up
okay.
right now, keeping an eye on it.
Okay, thanks, Jasper. So this is starting your own business, and in the chat box or Q&A, tell us a little bit about your name, the nature of the business, if you're in business uh, or not. Is it an idea that you're thinking about starting a business? Have you started a business, or have you been in business for a while? SCORE works with people at all stages of the business. Um, Including people who are exiting the business. We have a lot of clients who say, okay, I've been doing this for 30 years, 40 years. I want to retire, so I want to sell my business now. And I've got quite a few clients like that. So uh, we're experienced in working with all aspects of starting a business. And if you have any key questions you hope to, that we can address today, put them in, and you can either ask them as we go, or at the end if there's something I didn't cover that you'd like to have covered. So we've got colorful here, blue titled slides and green titled slides. So the blue title slides is introducing some content. We've also got some links in here. At the end, we will send a copy of the slides to everyone. And there's some kind of hot links there where you can get some additional information that isn't in the slides. And say questions anytime. And then we'll do some kind of summaries as we go along. Using the green titled slides. So that'll be a summary of key points that we've just covered. Having some paper or writing a pen or a pencil will be useful to kind of jot down questions or jot down things that you need to think about for your business as you go along. And note down some things that will be relevant to you that you want more information on. So blue and green, the two colors we're using today. So your goals. I actually had a client last week, and I spent a whole day with them. And this is from Simon Sinek, who wrote a book called The Golden Circle. And there's the what you do, the how you do it, and the why you do it. And most people don't get to the why. They never answer that question. So the client I spent a whole day with really had three problems. One was they didn't have a business plan, didn't have an operating agreement for the three partners, even though they'd been in business for 12 years, and the partners didn't get along. There was conflict, there was stress. And so we started off with, working on the what we call the kind of guidelines for working well together. We've had some conflict in the past. We don't trust each other as much as we do. What are those guidelines going to be? So we started off with that. Then we started off with the business plan that covered the what was actually the vision, the how, the mission, and the why was the purpose. So this is a good model to use. And Simon Sinek, if you haven't read his book, The Golden Circle, it's an easy read and it's a good read. It's very, very thought-provoking. So it's useful. Yeah. The what, the how, and the why. And same with my client, it was their vision, their mission, and the purpose. And that helped them get going in the right direction. So your goals for your business, why do you want to do this business? Do you want to make money? Do you want to make a difference in the world? Is it your passion? And you want to give up your day job and do something that you really, really want to do, or maybe you've wanted to do it for a long time. And the how will you accomplishment and be clear? What is your product? What is your service? And we'll get into all this in a bit more detail as we go along. But these are the essential questions if you're starting a business, or even if you're in business, and say, well, why is it I'm really doing this? And good questions to ask. and always be front of mind. And it may change as you go through, as you started your business. So what is a business? Well, a business has a product or service, and it really needs to be a product or service that people are willing to pay for. Uh, you may start off with it's just yourself, uh, or yourself and maybe a business partner or a couple of business partners. At some point, as you grow, you will have employees. You will always have vendors, people you buy from, uh, who support your business. There's always software. That software may be just the Microsoft Office suite. It may be QuickBooks or some other accounting stuff. You may have a POS, point of sales service. You may have some software for taking orders, software for scheduling clients. And you will need some capital. That may be capital you put up yourself, um, or maybe capital you borrow from the bank, or borrow from friends and family. You always need equipment. It might be as simple as a computer and a printer, but maybe you need an excavator, or you need um, something else that delivers that product or service. And you'll need some policies, particularly if you have employees. But the policies should be written down, and there will always be some business processes. How do you take an order? How do you complete an order? How do you uh, how do you manage taking in money and putting it in the bank, etc. So all those things are every business will have them. Some will have more capital needed than others. Some will have more equipment. Some will have more detailed processes. Some will have more employees. But you're always going to need all those things. So as a business owner, well, what do you do? Well, you need to raise the funds to get the business to you get your business to break even. Um, in my case, with our business, my wife is my business partner, and we didn't borrow any money. We had enough to get going, and to we didn't borrow a lot of money. We didn't borrow any money, but we had enough to get us going in the short term, and we were able to sell our product or service. Most of it was um, having referrals from people we knew. So our first work was in the Dallas area because we knew people in the Dallas area, and we did a lot of subcontracting until we were able to build our business in Maine. Um, you have to build your team. We'll get to what your team is. It might be, employees. It might be people who work for you, or it might be more than that. But you do need to build your team and develop those processes kind of early on, so that you know how you're going to be marketing, you know how you're going to be selling, you know how you're going to be able to fulfill the orders that you get, and take payments and put it in the bank and monitor financial statements. That is something that you really, as a small business owner, need to pay attention to. Um, and I know when I first started my business, that was a daily thing. I really paid it, and now it's a monthly thing. But monitoring financial statements so that you're paying attention to your cash flow, so you're not spending money that you don't have. You're spending money that you do have, and keep the sales pipeline going. Really key. So the green slide, what we just talked about, how much money do you have? And you really need a business plan and do some cash flow projections here, so that you don't go deeply in the red early on, because when you don't have a lot of revenue coming in, it's important not to spend money you don't have. And what processes do you need to develop? And I mentioned your marketing, your sales, your delivery, and taking the money in and putting it in the bank. What equipment will be needed, what vendors and software will be needed. I have to confess that I didn't think I needed something like QuickBooks at the start. I used Excel to kind of monitor everything, and then I got a mess very quickly. And then my accountant said, "Why don't you use QuickBooks?" And so, okay, it cost a few $100s a year. It's maybe over 300 now, but it really made my life easy. And what policies are needed for customers, what policies are needed for your team, all important things to have. And you may find yourself working all the time to get all those things done in the early days. So in terms of resources, are you doing something that is your business something you have personal experience with? Or do you need to get training? Do you need to get that experience from somewhere else? What is your risk tolerance? Personally, my risk tolerance is not very high, so I tend to be very conservative in spending money. And the kind of business that I have, my small business, it's something I have many years of experience in. So I wasn't trying something that I didn't know anything about. So what are your talents? Leverage things that you're good at, leverage things that you're better at than your competition. Is it something you're passionate about? And passion is something that's kind of important, that you don't want to be doing something just for the money, but something that will pay you reasonably well, and you get personal fulfillment from doing it. So passion is important, and family support. Uh, if you have been the breadwinner in your family, um, uh, and you're going to be doing something that's kind of risky, not sure where the money is going, is your wife or your business partner or your life partner supportive of you doing this? And it helps to have someone who's earning money so that is low risk. I like low risk for my clients and for myself. So these are the resources. So starting a business that requires money. How much money? Uh, Having a business plan, even if it's a one-page business plan, and doing some kind of cash flow analysis will be useful and help there. It's good to know where you're going, how much money it's going to cost, and time. I think for most people starting a business, they underestimate the amount of time it takes. It seemed that in the first couple of years, that when I started my business, it was a small two-person business. I was working all the time. I was working on the services that we provide, working on marketing, working on outreach to give training through the Chamber of Commerce, through there's maybe half a dozen organizations who said, sure, you can deliver some workshops saying what it is you do, and all those things have to be developed. For a 1.5 hour workshop, that might take 3 days to develop it. So takes an awful lot of time, takes an awful lot of energy, and it helps to be in good health and have the skills that you know what you're doing. I took a lot of training in the early days, learning some different tools and assessments and things that I hoped would help me grow and develop the business. So that took time, took energy, it took money to take all the training. Maybe spent $15,000 in the first year on training and different assessments, different tools, different techniques that would be useful that enhance my skills. So resources, plan it out. Hopefully you have some of those skills already. If not, what's it going to take to get them? Where are you going to get those skills? So resources to develop. Just talked about money. How much money will you need to make this business successful and get going? Is your family supportive? How much time do you have? If you're working a day job, and you're doing your spare time, how much spare time do you have? If you're balancing a family, you're balancing getting this business going, How much time is it going to take, and what skills do you already have, and what skills are needed? Jasper, anything coming in the Q&A? I see three things in the Q&A. Anything that you'd like
Yeah,
to?
we have a few people introducing themselves with their businesses that might make for some good segues here. Um, we have Susan Coe out of Belfast, intrigued about starting a food truck and also hope serving the homeless with it. She has a strong business background and is currently retired. And Stephanie has a some thoughts on a seasonal business in York and with some questions on LLCs or a question on an LLC.
Okay. Um, So with the food truck, food truck's been a hot thing for SCORE in the last year or so, and we have helped lots of people start food trucks, and we have lots of workshops that we've run on food trucks. I think it was a series of three that we ran in the Portland area, and those are all recorded, and we can certainly help you get going with the food truck idea. With the seasonal business, we have lots of seasonal businesses, particularly in hospitality, going. And we have a section later about what's the most appropriate business structure. Is it an LLC? Is it a C corp? Is it sole proprietorship? What's the most appropriate? And that's probably our most common thing that we get in SCORE. People say, I'm starting a business, and I don't know what type of business I should be starting. So we have lots of recorded seminars and that. We have lots of SCORE mentors who could help you get going. We have a document, 22 frequently asked questions for starting a new business in Maine. And there's a big section on whether what's the most appropriate business structure to have. So we
And I can
with
certainly find those and send them with the supplementary materials that get sent out at the end.
yeah.
As well as one more, Jason Libby is considering he's in the planning stage of possibly purchasing a franchise.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, franchises, I have a good friend who owns a franchise for the Coffee News. Uh, and he owns a global franchise. So it started off as a Canadian company. And, my friend Bill, uh, you know, took a franchise here in Bangor. And, uh, and then he became the franchise owner um, for the US. And then when the Canadian franchise owner who owned the global franchise, she passed away, and he took that on, and he has franchises in multiple countries, and he's always happy to talk about franchises.
That's
Um,
awesome. Maybe we'll get in touch with him.
yes, yeah, I'd be happy to do that referral and pass the your name on.
Mm.
Okay. So resources to develop. And unfortunately, 50% of startups fail in the first 3 years. Uh, and this is the top reasons why startups fail. So this is old data. It comes from 2018. But in every now and again, I'll go and look online, and it's pretty much the same kind of stuff that you get all the time. They run out of cash. Cash flow wasn't good. Um, weren't able to raise new capital. So if banks are very reluctant to fund startups. You you know you really need to keep your costs low in a startup. And once you've been in business for a year or a couple of years, and if you've got a good business plan, banks may say, "Okay, now I'm interested," because banks don't like to lose their money. You always have to put up some of your own capital, and most banks, they're looking for 20%. So if you're looking for a loan to start a brick and mortar outlet, for instance, it's going to cost you $100,000. The bank is looking for you to put in 20,000. If you go for grants, uh, often grants are looking for 50%. The Maine Technology Institute typically looks for 50%. So you've got to have money of your own to put in. So the startups fail because they ran out of cash. They won't get the income that they thought they would need. And for many years ago, I did some presentations in collaboration with my accountant, Chris Longton in Brewer, and a banker, and we talked about the importance of a business plan and doing the cash flow. And my accountant always said there's three. You really need to have three cash flow projections. One is what you hope will happen. And then there's one, well, what if you are more successful than you hope to be? Can you cope with that success? If sales are higher and you need to ramp up quicker, you need to hire people quicker. And that's a good problem to have. And then she said there's the third one, and she called it the oh shit scenario, uh, or maybe the oh dear scenario. But what if your sales projections don't come in? What if your costs are higher? Can you weather that for a year or a couple of years? So it's a really big thing. Running out of money, not having the income you want, or having your costs be higher. And sometimes there's just no market need. It becomes a passion project that people say, oh, I want to start a coffee shop, or I want to start a restaurant because I think I have a great idea. And then it just doesn't work out. I live in the Bangor area and I see lots of uh, uh, lots of new restaurants and coffee shops starting. Uh, but I think, for everyone that starts, it probably has to put someone out of business. Uh, so sometimes there's no market needs. There's already enough coffee shops um, uh, or restaurants around. So can you be really sure that it's a market need? We'll kind of touch on that as we go along. So from a customer's perspective, you know, always come at it from the customer's perspective. What problem are you solving? Is it something that people are willing to pay for? Is there really a big need for it? Why is it a problem? And will your offering solve it? Um, and other people may be trying to solve the same thing. So why would they buy from you? What is it that makes you better than your competitors? And does solving this problem interest you? Are is it something you're passionate about? Is it something that you really want to help people? So, who will buy from you? Um, who are your likely customers? What do they have in common? Are you looking at people a certain age? Are you going for teenagers? Are you going for millennials? Are you going for, the gray-haired people in the community? What's your income range? What's your geographic area? Are you going for people with certain life stage? You're going for students, you're going for parents. Um, is it, people with certain occupations or interests or hobbies, political causes, goals, what is it? And the tighter you can have, the better. Uh, when I started my business along with my wife, I had all kinds of experiences from the corporate world. You can tell from my accent, I'm not a Mainer. I grew up in Scotland. I worked in Scotland. I worked in England. I worked in Canada. I worked in Texas before moving to Maine. So I had all kinds of experience that I thought would be sellable. And so we said, yeah, we can help people with business process reengineering. We can help people with, coaching. We can help people with uh, marketing, all kinds of things we can help people with. And we were too broad in what we wanted. So there was a lot of things that, there wasn't really a market for here in Maine. Uh, and so one by one, we kind of dropped things off and we got tighter and tighter. So it took us a long time and a lot of energy to find out that market niche that we thought was too broad, and we've now focused on executive coaching and leadership development. Two things. And occasionally I'll get asked to do facilitation as well. But the tighter you have your kind of value proposition and your what you're offering, the better you're likely to be. So I learned that the hard way. Yeah. So who are your likely customers? What do they have in common? And be as tight as you can with it. So this is a useful kind of model here, and we will send out the slides to you. But what is the problem you're addressing? What is the solution that you're bringing to it, and what is your target market? So your product or service needs to address some pain points. It needs to be better than what other people are offering right now. And this is a helpful little model. And if you can't be clear about what the problem is, your solution and your target market, and that your solution is going to be useful in your target market and it's going to make money, then pause and say, well, is that really what I want to be doing? So what value do you offer? So my client that I spent a day with, they came up with the conclusion that other people um, offer what they do already, and some of those competitors are bigger than they are. And so they said for the service, they're going to be a full service, concierge service was what they came up with. We're going to be easy to work with. We're going to be fast. It'll be full service. And we're going to be friendly. We're going to be easy to work with. And that's how we're going to differentiate ourselves. So we can do it fast. Fast means it'll be slightly more expensive. We'll have 3 tiers of service here, and it can be very basic. But if you want us to really understand your business, we've got this concierge service. We'll spend a bit more time up front. We will qualify clients, so it won't take all business. There's a certain kind of business we want to have medium and large clients. Ones where there'll be return business coming from it. But that's what we want to do. So do you want to be the first or the best? If you are going to be the first or the best, then if you're going to be an Apple or Microsoft, who tend to be first and best, you've got to be able to show that you're first and best. Inexpensive. If you're going to be inexpensive, you go to high volume. Is high volume what you want to do? Man-made in certain types of things. Like I have a couple of clients who offer man-made furniture, and it's high-end stuff. People are willing to pay high-end to say it's made in Maine, because made in Maine has a certain kind of cachet, and it means something. Because if it's made in Maine, it means you're buying quality rather than low cost. It means you're buying something that's more creative than you can get from a mass market. My 2 furniture makers, it's certainly high end. It's certainly it's quality. They're not competing with Wayfair. They're competing with other high end manufacturers and who are kind of niche manufacturers. So they're selling quality. So what value do you offer that's better or different than your competitors? So from your customer's perspective, who is your target customer? Very succinctly. There's one of our subject matter experts who's a marketing expert. She's here in Northern Maine. She's down in Cherryfield, and she's got this down to a fine art. Said, who is your target market? And she come up with an avatar. So who is this person going to be called? Emily or Jim or whatever, but to be really clear about who the target market is, and what are those services and products you're offering them. Be clear about the pain point, what is the need, and how do you know that that's the need? How's your offering better than other options? And will people feel good about doing this, buying from you? So with the value proposition, it takes a lot of energy here, and SCORE has some really good subject matter experts who can help refine the value proposition. This lady from Cherryfield, we were working with a client who's selling cycle parts for vintage British motorbikes, and he's in Canada and he's in the US. And I was blown away when I was doing this co-mentoring with this with this lady, because I've been marketing my own small business for 19 years now, and if I had known that there were subject matter experts who know so much more than me, I would have gone that route much earlier than I did. So finding a subject matter expert in this can really help. And SCORE has several. I think we have 3 or 4 people who are subject matter experts in Maine. There's 2 in southern Maine, or 3 in southern Maine, and 1 in northern Maine. But it will really help you um, get clear about who your clients are, your potential clients, who your clients are, what they want, and how you can make money from this. So value proposition examples, we've got, SCORE has helped many coffee shops get going, but, a coffee shop needs to compete with Dunkin' Donuts, it needs to compete with Starbucks. So how do you make it be different? Um, there's a little coffee shop in Bangor that I go to if I'm meeting with clients, and it feels so much more friendly. It's run by the owner, run by people who are passionate about offering coffees, and I generally drink just regular coffee. But when I go there, I always say, "What's the special of the day? I want something exotic," and I get it. So that's a coffee shop. Amazon, they want to be the most customer-centric company, and when I log on to my uh, Firefox, to my browser, Amazon is always up there in the top left-hand corner. They make it easy to go. They make it easy to buy. Uh, they make it difficult to cancel an order, but uh, they are ubiquitous. They're everywhere. Anything you want, you can go and get it on Amazon. And so other competitors, I will go to other competitors when I can, because I don't want to give Amazon all my money, but they do make it very easy to do business with. Walmart, um, competitive in price. First best, cheapest. Walmart strive to be the cheapest, so you can always get what you want if it's a national brand, and you'll be struggling to find cheaper prices anywhere. And of course, Whole Foods. Um, Whole Foods are only available in the larger markets. I live here in Bangor. Whole Foods, the Bangor area is too small for Whole Foods, but we have other kind of grocers who, 2 grocers who give equivalent products with local vendors, local suppliers who are equivalent to that. So what is your niche? What is your value proposition here? So going back, it's the problem, the solution, the target market, and as I said, we have some subject matter experts in SCORE who can really help you with that. You can think about it yourself, but having someone who's a subject matter expert in this can really help, and really get clear quicker than you would in your own. So when you have your your value proposition, test it. Test it by asking customers some open-ended questions, because really what you're trying to find out is, would somebody buy this? I know when my my business partner, my wife, got certified as a life coach, a master life coach, in fact, part of it was through the Martha Beck Institute. And if anybody reads Oprah, probably know about Martha Beck. She writes some nice articles. But part of being certified was to find, I think it was 30 people, and do a free coaching session with the 30 people and ask them some questions. Is this something that would be useful to you, and how much would you be willing to pay for it? And as you sell more, keep in touch with your customers, and learn from your customers what would be, how could it make this service better for you? Um, and pay attention to that feedback so that you can refine your value proposition, so that you can expand. You can learn from your clients and expand your customer base. If you're going after a number of value propositions, if you're going after seniors and people with young families, then you might have a different value proposition for each one. And those markets may change over the time, as they did with mine. There's a number of services that I felt would sell but didn't. And so we kind of refined the value proposition and the market, so that instead of being a very broad-based consulting organization, my own business became narrow, and becoming narrow became more successful. And your value proposition needs to change. What it is 2 years ago might be different from what it needs to be now. Anything else popping up, Jasper?
Right now it's still just I was holding the rest of Stephanie's question until we get to LLC. You said you had a slide on that later.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it looks like we've so far addressed most of the questions that have popped up from people, but I'll keep some stuff on in my mind for later
Yeah.
as it pops up.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, so learning more about value propositions, we have in the score, uh, in our kind of online kind of database. I'm going to try. I'm going to try to write a value proposition, to got examples and tips, and hopefully I can get back to back to this slide as well.
Yeah, it should
But
be good if you just exit it from for the full screen from here. It should take you right back to it.
yeah, okay. So there are how to write a value proposition. If you don't remember anything from this talk, remember score.org. Score.org is your one place stop to find a mentor. If you want to have a mentor for workshops and events, they're they're all recorded in score.org, and templates and resources, including there's a lot of videos and there's a lot of things written up about, in this case, how to write a value proposition, examples and tips. So score.org is your kind of one-stop shop for all kinds of information, or if you want to volunteer to be a score mentor, we have a great onboarding process. And we're always looking for mentors with business experience. So go to score.org, how to write a value proposition, 11 examples and tips, identifying your core value proposition, and your business success starts here. And go to that one. Yeah, that's also score.org. Some of our tips go to the Bangor Public Library has great resources. The Portland Public Library has great resources. Um, just take an hour and or so and kind of browse those areas. But score.org is the one-stop shop. So, building your team of professionals. I know when I started my business, um, my business mentor is a lady in very successful consulting business down in the Dallas area. Said your three best friends will be your banker, your attorney, and your accountant, and it turned out to be that way. So the team of business professionals, your business mentor, SCORE has lots of mentors, of course, but Small Business Development Center, the SBA, there's lots of free resources you can go to find someone who is experienced in business and can help you get along. Your attorney, you'll certainly need one. Uh, when I started my business, I came up from I was living in the Dallas area, and I came up and spent a few days in Maine to find a banker, an attorney, and an accountant, and met with my attorney first, and said, should I be a C corp? Should I be a partnership? Should it be an LLC? And he said, that's an accounting question. You need to find an accountant to find the answer to that, because the accountant will say, will find out how do you want to be taxed. So you want to be taxed to keep your taxes as low as possible. So from that meeting with attorney, I met with someone in Rudman, Winchell, guy, Hans Peterson, nice guy. And he sent me towards an accountant. And the accountant said, well, being an LLC, but taxed as an S corp is your best way to go. So I went back to my attorney and said, I need to be set up as an LLC. And so he helped me with that, helped me find, make sure I had a business name that wasn't being used anywhere else, and then went to my bank and said, this is my business name. Um, please help me. And so I had a business name. It was Penobscot Consultant. Um, my marketing agency said, no, you don't want to use that. Penobscot is overused in the Bangor area and in Maine. We need to find a better name. So my um, marketing agency was my best friend as well, one of the team of professionals. So my business mentor was a lady in Dallas. Found the attorney, I found a banker. Uh, uh, I didn't need an insurance agent, I didn't think, until I did some work with IBM. And IBM said, you need to have liability insurance. Okay, I'll go get liability insurance. So that was IBM in Canada I was working with at the time. Um, so that was through the lady who was my business mentor in Dallas said, "Oh, I've got some work in Canada. You're a Canadian citizen. What can you do this for me?" I said, "Sure." So I needed an insurance agent, liability insurance. I've had it ever since. The accountant we mentioned, business peers. The lady in Texas was one of my business peers, and found a few other people who I was able to say they weren't in competition with me because they were in different markets, in the Boston area, the Dallas area, um, uh, and that was about it. And a lot of people find trade organizations are useful. It might be the local chamber of commerce, where you will have people who are in similar businesses, or trade organizations like I have a client who has an inn and a restaurant, and they're part of the main hospitality association, and they found lots of people who were very open to help them. They weren't in competition with each other, but they would help them develop their business. So trade organizations are a good place to go. So your team of professionals, you need to pay your attorney, you need to pay your accountant, your insurance agent will need to be paid. Some of those things are free, um, and I would advise maximize the free resources as much as possible. What kind of insurance is appropriate? Having an insurance agent. Uh, I use what do I use? State Farm. State Farm is my insurance agent, and they are help me with the general liability insurance, which I have. Always trying to sell me other things, but you know, a good insurance broker can help you determine, what kind of insurance you need. If you have a vehicle that's um, associated with the business, you would need that. You may need workers' comp if you have some employees. You may need, life insurance if you don't already have it. Um, Particularly if you don't have your day job. If your business is the only source of income you have, then you may need to have some life insurance in case you get hit by a bus or something dramatic happens to you. So any insurance broker, whether it's cross insurance, say you know um, or anyone else, they can help you with what's most appropriate for your business and what's not appropriate. So insurance is something to pay attention to. And relevant regulations. Um, if you decide to start off as a sole proprietorship or just a partnership, you probably want to go to your city clerk and say, "I am starting a partnership. What do I need?" And that your city clerk will help you with all those kinds of things. Do you need what local tax is? Do you need a certificate of occupancy? Are you buying a place? What kind of places are available? Um, do you want to buy a place? Do you want to rent a place? Who are the brokers who can find you somewhere to go? What are the local licenses? What approvals do you need, etc. So for some things, the city clerk is a great person. Um, if you're going to be an LLC or a C Corp or an S Corp, go to main.gov is a phenomenal resource. To say, what kind of business licenses do you need? What are the labor laws if you need to know that. What kind of taxes do you need to be paying? You need to be paying sales tax. And I found my accountant takes care of a lot of this stuff about paying into Social Security, paying the main taxes, etc. And every quarter, you know, I send off to my accountant, here's what my income has been, because she takes care of, I have some pensions coming in, some income from Canada, I have some income from the UK, and she takes care of it for me. Uh, and it would be bewildering. My accountant, I mean, I pay her to do all this stuff for me, but I think I'd be in real trouble if my accountant wasn't taking care of my taxes for me, and my um, uh, lawyer wasn't take care of the annual filings that I need to do. So main.gov, phenomenal place to go. Um, for business licenses to find if you're starting a business and you want to find out is somebody already using this name or not, and registering yourself as a business and getting all your tax IDs, etc. Main.gov, place to go. So think about who do you need in your team? Apart from your insurance broker, your banker, your lawyer, your accountant, they're all useful people. Do you need to be part of a trade association? What kind of insurance do you really need? And, what kind of insurance would you like to have um, in case something disastrous happens? The local clerk, what regulations do you need to pay attention to, and what state or federal regulations? And your lawyer can help with that. Your accountant can help with that.
Yeah, on that topic, we have Stephanie here. asking about SCORE resources for inexpensive accountants, that is, or affordable. We actually just had a good webinar last week with Francis Keel of Modern Bookkeeping Solutions is
Mm,
one that I would plug for a SCORE affiliated accountant.
yes. With that, Stephanie, and anyone else who's listening, we have a resource database where we have accountants, marketing agencies, lawyers, etc. So we can find someone in your area that you can check out. Score when asked for a reference, we always give you three. Uh, you know, as individuals, we have our favorites, of course. I use somebody Eaton Peabody as my lawyer. I use Leighton and Longton as my accountant. I always recommend them and give another um, two agencies at the same time. So we do have that. It's a kind of online thing that any mentor can help you with. You know, so go to score.org, ask for a mentor, say what it is that you want help with, and we will find someone to help you out. So what type of business? So Stephanie and others, the sole proprietor, the LLC, you can be a single member LLC or a multi-member LLC, or you can be a general partnership. And I think if you can click on these things, yes, it takes you, here's what is an LLC. Um, the structure and the benefits are um, you know, kind of in there. We also have a document, I think I mentioned before, 22 frequently asked questions that I give to all clients who are either starting a business or thinking of starting a business, because it gives you a lot of information about, what's the pros and cons of being a sole proprietor or an LLC or a C corp or an S corp. Um, and we can send that to you, or any mentor can give you that. Also, I think main.gov has some good information in here. Um, so a lawyer can help with this. We have some lawyers on staff at SCORE, some retired lawyers who I've partnered with a number of times who can help with that. So they will always recommend, I think, being a single member LLC or a multi-member LLC is most appropriate, but go to a lawyer to confirm that. So it may cost you, $100 or a couple $100, but being legal and finding the right resources is what we can help with. So SCORE can offer a lot of things for free, but as you get an accountant or you get a lawyer of your own, there's always some things you need to pay for. So we can uh, help you get there, and so that the amount that you pay, you already know the kind of questions that you need to ask your lawyer, or you may have some you may home in and, yeah, I need to be an LLC. Help me set it up, etc. So what type of business we can help with that. And partnerships. So my client that I spent the whole day with did not have a partnership agreement. So they had been in business for 12 years. Um, and a partnership agreement is really important. So when my wife and I set ourselves up as an LLC, our lawyer said, here's a template, here's a draft operating agreement for you. So it will describe the nature of your partnership, acts as the what if document. So what if you want to take on a new partner? What if you want to give some stock options to your employees to help retention? What if one partner decides, I'm retiring, I want out, or I want to do something else? What's the structure there? what's the buy-sell agreement for that partner who wants either someone wants to come in, or someone wants to go out, or someone wants to retire. It's the what if document. So this is not my area of expertise. So what I ended up doing with my client was I went to score.org. I found a template saying, here's your checklist for an operating agreement. Uh, Here's an article about operating agreements. So as much as you can between the three of you, since there are three partners, kind of agree on filling this in, and then I will find a recommended a retired lawyer in SCORE who would help them refine their operating agreement, and then they would go to their lawyer. Their lawyer was Eaton Peabody in Bangor, and said, "Okay, this is what we want for our operating agreement. Can you help us solidify it and make it legal?" So the first couple of things, the template and the article was free because it came from the SCORE website, score.org. The three partners kind of working it together, and then work with a retired lawyer from SCORE, and then go to their corporate lawyer and say, this is what we want. Can you help us make this happen? So it could be very costly if they didn't have an operating agreement and somebody said, "Okay, I want to, I want out. I want to go do something else with my life, or I want to retire. I think the company is worth my shares worth $1 million," and the other partners may say, "I think you know, yours is worth $200,000." Well, that could that be costly for both partners to get the lawyers involved to hash it out and come up with something that's they can both live with. So if you have an operating agreement ahead of time before disaster strikes, that would be a good. So have an operating agreement, have your corporate lawyer look at it, and maybe individually have your own lawyer say, "Well, is this fair for you? Can you live with this?" So it can be tricky, but operating agreements are important if there's more than one of you running the company. So important company details as you get going. Determine your company name. Um, something that's make sure that nobody else has that name. So you can go to the main registry and main.gov, and you can check it out. It takes minutes to do, easy to do. Uh, may have to go to the US Patents and Trademarks Office. Uh, we in SCORE partner with the University of Maine has someone, they have a kind of patents, trademarks office there, and guy, John, can't remember his second name, but very helpful in helping people see if the name of their company is already trademarked, or the name of their product or service is already trademarked. It's better to know before you get in a trademark dispute with someone. Um, I have a son who's in a trademark dispute right now. He has a company called Raised by Wolves, raisedbywolves.ca and he's up in Canada, and he trademarked the name Raised by Wolves in the US as well as Canada, and then recently found out that I think it's Minnesota Timberwolves, a hockey franchise, were selling products under his name. So he sent him a letter saying cease and desist. They did, but they'd sold maybe $1 million of product under the Raised by Wolves name. And so he's wondering, he's in the place where he's checking with his corporate lawyer to say, can I get some damages from them? So that's a case where the US Patent and Trademarks Office had registered his name. Somebody had violated it, and because they violated it, they did cease and desist. And he's wondering if he can take it further than that.
I think
So,
it would be a good time. We've got another one from Stephanie here. I think it transitions well. Thoughts on speaking to another business that could be considered direct competition?
ah, yes. Um, could you come off mute, Stephanie, and kind of
Let me
explain a
see if
bit?
we have that. If we have that well, open right now, I will say. I don't know if we're all. Oh yeah, here we go. All right, invited if Stephanie is available.
Hello.
Hi.
Um, yeah, so my question is because I do know of another neighboring town where the service that I'm thinking to provide is being done. Um, and my partner is sort of like, oh, I don't know if we should speak to them. Like they might be thinking of coming into this area. Um, but I feel like they could answer a lot of questions in terms of it's basically their model that I'm looking to complete. So I just don't know if there's um if there's an approach or my feeling is to just be very direct with them. But
Mhm.
are there pros and cons to that?
Uh, yes, when I first moved here, there was another consulting organization that started up pretty much the same month as us. And so I went to talk to them and say, could we, maybe we could collaborate. There's things that you do well and there's things that we do well. And that actually didn't go well. Um, yeah, but maybe if you're using the same model as that organization, um, it might be worth talking to them. I mean, I'm all around collaboration. I like to have all. I don't like to hide things. I like to collaborate with
Yeah.
people rather than being competition. Um, but it might be worthwhile. Maybe you can learn from them something. Maybe they'll say, okay, in your town, we'll just avoid going there. Um,
Right.
because it's next door. Um,
Hmm.
you may be able to collaborate with them, say, well, we're doing similar things. Maybe we can uh, maybe we can buy our you know products or our from the same vendor and get some cost efficiencies. If we buy it together. So there may be ways you can help each other there.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so yeah, I would say, yeah, I mean, go for it.
Yeah.
Chat to them, be kind of open
Hmm.
about it.
And I
But
guess while we got you here, do you think we covered your questions about LLCs? Did you have any more questions on that while we still have you on the line here, Steph?
Um, no, thank you. I think you covered it. I mean, I have been looking on maine.gov as
oh,
well, and I just wanted to, yeah, I think just as a small business, I'm just wondering, I guess my one question that has not been answered, and I didn't ask it, so is if you start off as an LLC, can you add the S corp later, like at a another time? It doesn't have to be done at the same time, or
the answer is yes. Um,
okay.
yeah, you can do that. And you know, for my small company, I'm taxed as an S corp
Hmm.
because I don't think there's a tax structure for an LLC. Um,
Right.
yeah, so that was my accountant who said that was the way to go. So yes, you can change to an S corp at some point. It's a kind of legal thing. Lawyers do that.
Right.
Excuse
Okay.
me.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Stephanie. All
Yeah.
right.
Uh, yeah, establishing your corporation or LLC, attorneys can help with that. We find in SCORE that maybe half the people just go and do it themselves. It's relatively easy to do. and then they'll come back with questions. Oh, well, I want to be an LLC, but there's several types of LLC. What would you recommend? If you it's the kind of thing you can go to a lawyer and they'll answer you in 10 minutes. Excuse me. Yeah, and getting the numbers like your federal identification number, lawyer can help with that, or you can do it yourself. Always have your kind of business checking account that separates your personal income and your personal bank account from your corporate one or your business one. That is an absolute must do, and I would always kind of recommend you use something like QuickBooks to track all your expenses and your income, etc. And your either your local clerk or your lawyer can help with any licenses needed, whether professional licenses, business licenses. And again, main.gov is pretty good for that, as Stephanie has found out. Yeah. So business type questions, what is most appropriate? And we have some documentation. Score or your lawyer can help with that. Are you going to be have one or more partners, and a partnership agreement is absolutely essential. And Score can help you with the kind of questions to ask or things to cover, and you will need a lawyer at some point to say, put the seal of approval on it. Researching the potential business name, that's relatively easy to do. Main.gov is a good place to go. What sales taxes do you need to pay? What kind of bank do you need? When I first started mine, it was actually my father-in-law who lived in Maine. He lived in Bangor, and we were moving from Texas to Bangor. Said, "Oh, I'm good friends with the owner of Sprague's Nursery. Why don't you talk to him?" And I talked to him, Harvey Sprague, and he said, "Well, it's better to have a local bank, because the local bank you can have a relationship with the president or the people who are there. They don't need to go out of state to get approval for a loan. So it's better to have kind of a local bank." So that's why I went with Merrill Trust at that time. And they've changed hands a few times, but it's back in local local ownership again. Yeah. And do you need any what licenses do you need? So funding is how much funding do you need, and what are your startup costs going to be? So having doing some kind of cash flow projections on this is and in order to do the cash flow projections, it's good to have a business plan. That business plan might be as simple as a one page. If you're not asking for money from a bank, a one-page business plan might be enough to get you going, at least at the start. If you're going to be borrowing money, then you need that cash flow projection. You'll need a business plan, and you probably need maybe more money than you think you need at the start when you get into the business plan. I have a client, it's actually a Native American who wanted to start a charter boat business out of Bar Harbor, and he'd done a phenomenal amount of research into what the going rate is if you're running charters out of Bar Harbor, and what's costs are going to be, etc. He didn't know how to do a cash flow projection, so he had a great business plan without a cash flow projection. So I found someone who's better with the cash flow stuff. He was a retired CEO. He'd been CEO for a number of companies, and he did the cash flow projection and put in some what if scenarios. So this person was planning to kind of keep his day job and start the business And so what if you had one charter a month? What if you had two charters a month, three charters a month, etc.? So we did all these kind of what if cash flow projections. And when he had that, because he was taking a cautious approach, he was actually getting his money through the four directions. It's a kind of quasi government agency that helps Native Americans start businesses. And so he got his $70,000 through them because he had a really well researched business plan. And SCORE helped him with his cash flow projections. And when he did that, he got the money quite easily. So doing looking at business plan, cash flow. If you're looking for money, that's a good thing to do. And even if you're not looking for a loan, it will help you know when your break-even point is and how much you need to have on hand, up front. So common sources of funding is personal savings. Um, many of the clients I've had through SCORE, have gone that way because they're starting out. They're trying to keep the risks low. Some will keep the day job. I've got a few people who have they're retired and say, I want to start a guiding business. Take people in guided tours of Acadia, hiking tours. So there's not much investment was needed. They need to be, register as a main guide to do it. But the personal savings was not much. They're going to be able to do it for not very much at all. Bootstrapping is the way an awful lot of startups go, and we'll talk about that. And the next slide are friends and family. So friends and family is good and bad. It can, it can cause strained relationships, shall we say. If you borrow from friends and family and you're not able to pay them back for a while, or if your business idea doesn't work out and they lose their money, if they lose $5,000 or $10,000 or more, the friends and family need to know the risks that maybe they're going to lose their money, and that can cause bad blood between friends and family. Grants or competitions. Grants are a kind of iffy thing. We actually have a subject matter expert in Northern Maine who helps. Her business is actually helping people to get grants, but she comes in occasionally to help people. How do you write grants? And there's an online training seminar that she did that I send to people who want to go the grants route. So grants always take a lot of effort, and grants always have strings attached. It's not free money. To get a grant, there's hoops you have to jump through, and it's good to know that up front. So I always say, kind of watch the video on grants, and let's have a co-mentoring session with Victoria. Her name is. She's up in the Millinocket area, so that you're aware of the pros and cons of getting grants. And competitions, grants sometimes take a lot of time to write, and they're competitive. That most organizations like the Maine Technology Institute have kind of narrow niches that they offer grants in, and sometimes say, well, you write a grant now and we're going to, it'll be September when we will award them. So it's often not quick. Competitions, there are lots of pitch competitions, and we SCORE in Northern Maine just got a word from the Bangor Savings Bank where they're going to do a pitch competition in the fall, and Bangor Savings Bank is giving us $10,000, which is very generous of them. So we're going to have a pitch competition in the fall, and we'll have a first, second, and third prize. First prize will probably be $5,000, and $3,000. So it's a good way of getting money, but it's uncertain. You've got to have a pretty good pitch, and not everyone wins. Hence the name competition. So there are, however, lots of competitions. Some are local, like Skowhegan has one. This one it will be in Bangor that we do in the fall. Some like the Big Gig are, kind of northern Maine wide, etc. So it's a good way to get money. However, even if you win, you've got to spend it on the right things. You can't use it for operating expenses. It's got to be for equipment or marketing or, something that something that you have to prove that you've spent the money on. Crowdfunding, I see this coming up every now and again, where people go on Facebook and they want crowdfunding. So there's some strings attached to that. People might give $10 because they think it's a good idea, or $20. But if people are giving substantial amounts, they might say, "Well, I'll do that, but I want something from it. I want to use your service, so give me $100 worth of free service down the road." And I'm personally not that familiar with crowdfunding. I'm just putting it there that it's a possibility. And loans, you get a loan from the bank. I mentioned earlier that banks are reluctant to fund startups because it's kind of iffy. And if you do get a loan from a bank, they will probably want some of your own collateral in there, probably in the 20% range, because banks don't like to lose money. They're very risk averse. And venture capital is a way to go. You'll have to have a pretty rock solid business plan here. And venture capitalists are looking for a quick return. So unless your idea is scalable, i.e., you can go national in very, very quickly, they are probably unlikely to want to do that. And they will want to own a percentage of the company. So Main Angels is the one I'm most familiar with. And you can visit their website and learn more about what they're likely to support in terms of businesses, because they are they know that not all businesses will be successful, and they're looking for the big winners here, where they can go national, and they will give you all kinds of expertise, but it comes as a cost. A friend of mine who were using venture capitalists, and they were in the Dallas area, and every quarter the venture capitalists come in, and they really put the pressure on. And as my friend said, these are not nice people. Yeah, they're there to make money. They're willing to invest in the right things, but they're looking for big returns, and they're looking for aggressive sales and aggressive expansion. So there are all possibilities there. So you choose the path that's best for you. So bootstrapping, that's a kind of slow, steady way of funding your business growth. It does reduce risks, including financial risk. Cash needs are smaller, and it builds your expertise with your target market on a kind of go slow, go steady basis. So you have an idea, you may have a couple of early clients who are willing to pay, and you start to build your client base. So, try it out. We hear the fail fast, fail often idea is a good one. You have the idea, you might find that it's not quite market ready. You need to add some features to it. You need to do something different from what you're doing now. So you do that, and you try it out and say, "Oh, well, I didn't quite get it right this time either. I'll try again." Get out and sell. Many people starting a business are reluctant to be selling. Marketing, sure, you can put stuff in Facebook and put stuff in LinkedIn and hope that people will sign up. But generally, you have to get out and sell. You may need to start attending business after hours at your local chamber of commerce, where you can meet people and do the selling there. Or knocking doors, if that's knocking doors of businesses. And some people may open doors for you. Something like BNI is a good way of getting your name out. That's a business network international. I know there's a couple of chapters here in Bangor, and many of the members come from Eastern Maine. They're not all just local, but this is businesses helping each other to sell, uh, through contacts that they have, etc. That's so, when I first came to Bangor, I was part of a referral network. For my kind of business, it didn't work, but for some kinds of business, it works very well. So think about that. Think who can help you sell, who will give you referrals, etc. And pay attention to the feedback that you get. And so bootstrapping means that the funds you get from the sales, you invest it in the business to make your offering better, so you can sell a bit more and keep repeating the cycle. So the more people you can have selling for you, or opening doors at least, so that you can sell, the better it is. So bootstrapping, I would say for my personal score clients, at least half of them do that, and it works. Yeah. So some ways: moonlighting, keep your day job. Use your free time, whether it's evenings, it's weekends, to build your business, and subcontracting if it's something that you can subcontract. In the early days, that's what I did with my business. Subcontracted to people who were in my network, who were in the out of state people who kind of brought me in, and so I did a lot of traveling in the early days, subcontracting to people who had a market already and could use a pair of hands to take on coaching and consulting work elsewhere. If you have a product, feature it in a public place, and it might be yeah it might be when your chamber of commerce, where they have you or things like trade expos, business expos have that has been very successful. Take a booth and show your products, where people get to see it, or have special events. If you could talk at a Chamber of Commerce event, if you could talk at some kind of local business event, get your product, get your service out in front of people, where people could say, "Oh, that's interesting. That's I don't need that, but I know someone who could use it." Take a table at the county fairs, business expos, and keep your day job. Keep it low risk, where you're investing your kind of spare time into building the business, rather than relying on the revenue, because revenue can, make them in very, very slowly. It may take a few years even before you get enough revenue to say, okay, I can cut back in my day job now. Yeah. Yeah. So keep the risk low. So ask yourself, what kind of funding do you need? Do your business plan, do your cash flow analysis, maybe a simpler offering, being tight rather than broad with what you're offering, keep the risk low, keep the costs low to test the market until you're kind of ready to grow. And can bootstrapping work for you to get to break even without really costing you much money? And as there are additional features, I have a book here. It's called The Small Business Life Cycle by a guy, Charlie Gilkey, and it kind of describes the kind of 5 phases of the business life cycle and where you should be. And he talks about having a beachhead service. So that's where you're kind of really tight in what you're going to offer as a service. And then as you kind of expand your business, then expand from that beachhead service or product that you have and kind of grow that and expand that. It's a kind of low risk way of going, but it's for each of the five pieces in the cycle, it describes very well where you're likely to be and what you should be doing next. So I would recommend, it only costs, I think it's $6 or $7, The Small Business Life Cycle by Charlie Gilkey. It's valuable advice. So financial statements, I'm not an accountant. I'm not great with financial statements, but you do need to manage your business and reconcile your books monthly. In the early days, every other day I was looking at my financial books, and I use QuickBooks. There are other pieces of software that are equivalent to that you could use. But you'll learn to understand your balance sheet, income statement of cash flow, and when you get the slides, kind of click on these things, and you'll be able to see them. But reconcile monthly. QuickBooks has a reconcile with your bank account feature. Do that monthly. It's important to do so that you keep positive cash flow. And if you're spending more money than you should be spending, that you know where to cut back. I don't know. I see that we're 11:30. Let's see. Just go really, really quickly here. The business plan, it's a living document. Documents your vision and goals, your what, your how, and your why. And you should, revisit it at least every 6 months or so to kind of refine your business plan, because things will change. And the business plan, you'll need it for the bank if you bring in other investors, partners. When you have your first employee, they will want to know where things are going. It's a living document. You will need your business plan, for many people. And this just as a kind of recap of putting it all together. What's the problem? What's your solution? What's your value proposition? Test it regularly, measure if it's working for you, and tweak it on an ongoing basis. So starting a business, it's a lot of work. Most people find it's more work than they thought it would be. It's not for everyone. There's kind of risks here. Got to know who your customers are going to be real tight on that, know who your competition is, whether than the town next door, as Stephanie had, or whether you're competing against national companies, as coffee shops often do. But start small, test it, learn, adapt, and with SCORE mentors, we can help. There are other organizations that can also help as well, but SCORE mentors, it's free, it's confidential. We're here for the life of your business, whether you're startup mode, whether you're in, retiring from your business or somewhere in between. It's free, confidential. We have subject matter experts, and score.org has all kinds of information that's you can go and browse and see what you want to use. So we're free mentoring workshops, 320 offices throughout the USA, and we have three in Maine, southern Maine, central Maine, northern Maine. And we're the largest volunteer mentoring organization in the United States with 10,000 mentors and subject matter experts. So I'm going to kind of wind up on that. Any closing questions?
Yeah, we've got one last one that ties into just linking back to SCORE, really. If we work with nonprofits and if we have a workshop for nonprofits, I'm not sure we specifically have a nonprofit specific workshop on the calendars, but we have mentors more than happy to talk to you about a nonprofit, and that's Susan. Otherwise, I believe we covered a lot today. I think there's a lot to digest. Like I said in the beginning, today's webinar was recorded. So if you missed anything or want to double back, we'll send out the recording soon, as well as the slide deck with the links you'll be able to click on.
Yeah, thanks. And we have in Northern Maine, we have Dennis Wint, who focuses only on nonprofits as well.
Good to know.
He's in Southwest Harbor. So sign up, score.org. We'll help you find the right resources.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. Well, thanks again, everyone, for coming out. Thank you, David, for a great talk today. And I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. And I hope that we answered some questions for you.
Thanks, Jasper. Thanks, everyone, for attending. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good one.